All right, welcome to the first episode, which we are calling issue number 0 of the comic book Communicast, the official Google Plus comic book community podcast. A little bit of a mouthful. I am Justin Beeson, one of the moderators of the community, and tonight I'm joined by Paul Christopher.
How you doing?
So what we're going to be doing with this podcast is taking a few comics that we were basically really excited to read and talk about them a little bit so that people that haven't bought their comics yet can get another perspective and maybe learn about some comics that they haven't read yet. Do you have anything to add, Paul?
Nope. I'll tell you right now that a lot of my stuff is going to be like the independent, non-superhero stuff. Not that I don't like superheroes, but that's just lately what I've been getting into.
Great. We'll also be talking about the previous week's pick of the week, and then after that, possibly some posts, some news. Depends on how long we're running. We're shooting to have this around 20 to 30 minutes, nice and short, for everybody to take in and not have to commit a whole bunch of time to it. So I guess let's start talking about the comics. What was your first pick this week?
First pick was Lazarus. It's from Image, I believe. Unfortunately, I'm having to do this through my comic book reader, so I can't go back and check, but I'm almost positive it's an Image comic.
It is.
Okay, there you go. Thank you. It's excellent. It's only on its third issue, so now's a good time to go ahead and get started. Post-apocalyptic future. Basically, like, there's a few very rich families that control everything, and then beneath them there are the serfs who work for those families. So it's like a neo-feudal system, and each family has one member which is referred to as the Lazarus, and they're effectively immortal. I believe they've been hinting at it, but the pictures or whatever from the cover from next issue leads me to believe that they're basically like cyborgs. So they get killed, they get put back together. So our heroine is the Lazarus of this one family, and there's all these weird Machiavellian machinations going on in there. It's really cool because it's not just straight action. It's like a lot of like character building, world building. It's not your typical like every other page is like some flash page. There's not a lot of like half naked women, that sort of thing. It's a good, intelligent book for adults.
Cool. Yeah, I read the first 2 issues, but then like I have so many comics that I'm reading that I have to constantly curate my list. So I decided to drop off that one and wait till like the storyline completed, because it seemed like the first issue was like a lot of intro, and then the second issue was kind of a little bit more character development. It was slowing down a little bit, so I figured I'd wait till the storyline completed and then read it all at once.
Yeah, see if you can get like a trade. Because I don't think this is going to be a miniseries. I think this is going to be an ongoing. But
yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, it seems like though, like that's the thing now is like every 5 issues you put out a trade.
Yep. All right. For my first pick, I picked Scott Snyder and Raphael Albuquerque's American Vampire Anthology #1. That series is probably my top 5 series that I like. It's one of the series that got me back into comics. They've been on break for a while, so it's always good to get a little bit more from them. This one had a bunch of writers and a bunch of artists in it, sort of telling little one-off stories, some using the characters and some not. If you're not familiar with American Vampire, basically he establishes a world that has vampires, but the way the vampires work is that every location geographically has a different kind of vampire. So the ones that we think of as vampires are from Europe, garlic and crosses and can't go in the sun. The American vampire is a little different. They're a little better. But anyways, this issue was kind of a letdown, honestly. It was really cool to see all the different artwork and stuff, but not a lot of writers, a few of the writers kind of just use it as a way to tell just a normal vampire story and not use the unique things that Snyder and Albuquerque introduced into the American Vampire universe. Um, the definite standout though was Gail Simone's like little mini one-off. It
I
was
love Gail.
awesome. Yeah, you know what? Like, I honestly, I'm on and off with her. Sometimes I really like her, sometimes I don't. But in this, she was awesome. She does a story on one of the characters' backstories. I'm not going to say who it is because like there's some twists in the main series involving her, but she just tells this heartbreaking tale of kind of how she ended up where we meet her in the series,
Mhm.
and it's awesome. Um, but the one cool thing about this is it gives us a chance to see a variety of art, and sometimes from people that we wouldn't expect it. So Ray Fox, who does he co-writes Justice League Dark with Jeff Lemire. He's doing Constantine. I think he's doing one other DC title. He actually draws a Jeff Lemire story,
Okay.
and their styles are kind of different. Like he uses the watercolor and stuff too, and it's a little abstract, but it's really cool. And then Becky Cloonan does a story. Her story's okay, but her art's awesome as usual. Um, but yeah, and then Snyder and Albuquerque, the main creators, they have a story that they kind of bookend the whole thing off with that connects it to the main series, and of course theirs is awesome because it's their universe. Um, and the other downside is the price. Vertigo and DC, or DC and Vertigo, have been charging $8 for their anthologies, and for what you get, I think it's a little much.
Yeah.
But I'm an American Vampire super fan, so of course I had to have it. But that's basically all I would recommend for. It's not a good intro to the series because it plays with characters and storylines that have already been going on, and you don't want to get it ruined. But yeah, so
I've
that
actually
was
got the first issue of that sitting in my collection. I have not gotten around to reading it, but
oh, you definitely
now,
should.
yeah, I was interested in it because I'd heard about the whole thing with like the geographical differences with the vampires and all that, and that intrigued me. But I just had so much else going on. But now that I know that it's Snyder, because I really like Snyder from his Batman run, but now I'm really liking him. He's got another series called The Wake. I don't know if you've read that, but that
Yep,
is
I am reading that.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, this is actually, well, The Wake's awesome, but this is my favorite ongoing that Snyder does.
Well, now I'll definitely have to go back and
Yeah.
start reading.
And then the first volume, the first 6 issues, is really cool because Snyder does the main story, and then he actually has Stephen King do the backups.
Hmm.
And so Stephen King writes kind of like the origin story to one of the main vampires.
That's really
So
cool.
yeah, that's awesome.
So Stephen King is following in his son's footsteps.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So what was your second pick?
my second pick is Aquaman, because the I, if you had gone back and asked 17-year-old me about collecting Aquaman, I would have laughed in your face. But the new 52 has kicked it off perfectly. Perfectly. I absolutely love Aquaman in the new 52. And it was great. Like the first issue, they completely addressed all the common Aquaman jokes and whatnot. They did such a great job with like dealing with it in world. And right now, um, well, I don't want to talk about the plot too much, obviously, because then it's going to be like spoilers and spoilers. But they've introduced this new character called Ocean Master, and he is just ridiculously powerful, and the art in the comics is fantastic. It's really really good, and so like the way that they've drawn this guy, he's just like this. I don't know, like nightmarish underwater Santa Claus. I don't know. He's got the beard and everything. He's got the trident. It sounds funny, but like you see him, like I should have posted it. There's the first picture they had revealing him was just amazing, and he's a badass guy. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're doing with him. They've really been doing a lot with with Arthur's relationship with Atlantis. He's gone ahead and accepted being king and all. And there's this really interesting twist at the end of this latest issue that I did not expect, did not see coming. Obviously, I don't want to give it away, but it's if you've been following it up this far, it's you're not going to be disappointed. If you've been hesitating because it's got Aquaman on the title, don't. It is amazing. They've just done a really fantastic job, mostly because they keep him in his element too. So like Aquaman running around in the middle of a big city, only so much you can do. But the comic keeps him in the water, and they do a lot of really neat things with that. So you can see him in his element, in his power, and it's just awesome.
Yeah, that was one of the ones where I still kind of have to get over my prejudices towards
Yeah.
the character and jump on in. I mean, I'll probably wait till Comixology does a sale and then I'll pick them all up. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, everybody that I don't think I've heard a bad thing about Aquaman. Everybody seems to like it.
Yep. Yeah. It's like they really sat around, took it all in, and was like, okay, all right, we're gonna show you that Aquaman can be cool.
Well, that's kind of Jeff Johns' specialty is taking a character that, people may not be taking seriously and revitalizing it. He did that with JSA and Green Lantern and
Hmm.
all his
And
other stuff.
can we talk about the lanterns for 2 seconds?
You
What
know,
is the deal with the rainbow core?
okay, so that's there. Like Green Lantern is one of my favorite characters.
Hmm.
Those are all the trades that I used to buy when I was in high school, and John's run was awesome right up until that point. The rainbow thing I
Yeah.
not a fan of,
Yeah.
and so I dropped off for a while, and I actually liked where they were going with the New 52 with Sinestro being the main lantern,
Mhm.
and it was just kind of dragging. I was just buying it for the character, not because of the issue. And so with this, after the creator team change, I actually just dropped off it because I couldn't take it anymore. It was just kind of a lot of meh. It was
Who's your
not bad, not great.
Who's your favorite lantern?
Kyle Rayner.
Yeah. Are
I
you
mean,
reading? Go ahead.
and that was that's who was the lantern when I started reading, and I just liked the fact that he was the only one who kind of had to strike out on his own, no training. I thought that was
Hmm.
interesting.
Are you reading the Earth 2 Green Lantern?
No, that was one of the ones that I like kind of came in, found out about it in the middle of it, and then I found out, James Robinson's leaving, so probably just gonna wait till he's all done and then read it all at once.
Gotcha. So what was your second comic for the week?
My second comic, I figured I would do Justice League 23, which is the conclusion to Trinity War. Did you read that? Or are you
Yes,
following Trinity War? Okay.
yeah, I am, and that stunned me. The ending of that, like, I am so excited to see what they do with that.
Yeah, the bummer is that I found out the exact end, like, where they were all from or whatever,
Yep.
because I accidentally clicked on a spoiler link. However, the way that they got to that point was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that completely surprised me.
Unless you're reading spoilers, there's no way you're gonna draw that conclusion from
Yeah,
just
no.
the comic. There's just no way.
Yeah, and I mean, the art was crazy. They had all those
Yeah.
two-page spreads, and to where it was, I don't know what do you call when it's horizontal.
Landscape.
Well, like, because you have to put the comic
Right.
sideways to see.
So yeah,
Yeah,
sideways is landscape, and then vertical is portrait.
yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
And it was nice to
fantastic.
finally see like a little bit of the origin for the secret society.
Yep. Yep.
The only
And
downside is that it goes into directly into another event. But
yeah.
I don't know. I think this event was actually good enough to give them the benefit of the doubt. So
Yeah.
I will definitely be reading Forever Evil.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, and this actually got me into like, cause I only collect regular Justice League. I don't mess with the other ones. So obviously this has been my first experience, reading the other Justice League titles, and still not going to collect them, but it was cool to check them out.
Justice League of America I wasn't a big fan of, but I actually really like Justice League Dark. I like DC's mystical, I don't know, mystical magic books. You know,
Yep.
like that and Demon Knights before it got canceled.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, but Justice League Dark has actually been really good. Lemire has been killing it on that, and unfortunately, he's going to be off that book pretty soon here, from what I read,
Now
which
you
is a bummer.
know Del Toro is talking about doing a Justice League Dark movie.
Yeah, that's kind of one of, you take everything he says with a grain of salt, because he says he's doing 10 movies and we get like a half of one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if
But
he
then we
ends up
get
doing it,
Pacific Rim.
yeah.
So.
All right, and then so that those are the comics that we picked that were the top of our pile.
Hmm.
Um, Now we'll switch over to last week's pick of the week, um, which happened. I mean, it was a spread out week. It was pretty much like a vote for everything, but the one that kind of sneaked right ahead was Ultimate Comics, The Ultimates, number 29. And if people don't know, they're in the middle of hunger slash cataclysm slash big events. And people are, I mean, I don't think this is spoilers because it's been all over. People are saying that this might be like the end of the Ultimate Universe.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy in the Ultimate Universe right now. Um, why don't you explain why you don't read Marvel comics, and then I'll
Yeah.
kind of talk about the issue.
Yeah, so even so when I was collecting as a teenager, I was a big X fan. I read the X-Men books. I didn't really get into X Factor, didn't get into Excalibur. It was X-Men and New Mutants and then X-Force. And then so I come back to comics now, and DC has this wonderful New 52, so I can just start in all over again. And then Marvel has the whole Marvel Now thing, and so I go and I look at the X books, like what's going on with the X books, and I'm reading on Wikipedia to get caught up with what's been going on, and I was like, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And then they had the X-Men comic where it was just all the female X-Men. I'm like, that sounds cool. That sounds like really neat, really interesting. Maybe I'll try that. And then I read like and Jubilee, and I was like, no, no, no,
Do you know she's a
no,
vampire now?
absolutely. And that was the topper right there. I was like, all right, let me look and see what's going on with Jubilee. Maybe they've made her interesting since I last saw her. Blah 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 blah. Vampire. I'm like, nope, done, done. So no Marvel for me. I'm
Yeah.
looking. I read the first issue of Hawkeye because everybody's been talking about how awesome it is. I liked it, so that might be, if they have a 99-cent sale, that might be my only Marvel regular title.
Well, I
So
mean, that one's so different from everything else.
yeah.
And the X-Men books, I actually really like them. The
Mm,
regular X-Men with the female cast is actually my least favorite.
mm,
Um, but yeah, it's definitely a Marvel universe to get in there. It's definitely read some Wikipedia, some read some Wikipedia, some to keep on
yeah.
everything.
It's
Um,
just too much soap opera stuff. I'm just like, no, no, I can't do it. Like every other week, it's just some new big baddie, and I don't like the fact that people have got all these kids, but they're not really their kids. They're not really family, because they're from a different dimension. They're from a different time. They're from this, that. It's like, just commit.
it's
So
one of those things where like I found out I was super like that too, and then I just
yeah.
kind of jumped in. And now that I've been in continuity for a little while, now it's okay. But it's kind of like you got to go all in. You got to commit yourself to doing it.
Well, they
Um,
brought back the New Mutants for a while, like the original team, and that was really cool. I was reading that, but then that ended, so I'm slowly collecting that. I think it was like 100 issues or something like that. So
well,
um,
apparently there's a
then
there's a
keep
phase
that.
two to Marvel now coming out, so maybe they'll reintroduce some of those.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, so the pick of the week was Ultimates number 29, and they're right in the middle of all this craziness. Um, I haven't read any of the Ultimates, so I kind of came into this cold, but it was a really cool issue. Um, Joshua Hale Fialkov is an awesome writer, and even just coming into a single issue was cool. They dump you right into the action. There's this big crazy conflict with Reed Richards, and because he's a bad guy in this universe, and it was pretty good. I mean, I'm I'm kind of like, this has me to where I'll probably read like Hunger and catch up on this after it's all done once I see the fallout of all this. But it was really cool. For the issue they use a device where it kind of centers on Quicksilver, and he's talking to Wanda, his sister, the Scarlet Witch, who's dead. And so he's kind of narrating what's going on, and it was really cool and nice uh, emotional take on it. And then there's this crazy twist at the end, and even for me, who hasn't been following it, I was like, whoa.
Uh,
So I mean, it was good. I would recommend it. I don't know how the rest of the series is, but that issue was definitely good. Um, Next, we have the Baltimore Comic Con coming up. Um, that Charles, our owner, is going to be at doing his thing there, and I think he's going to be doing some announcement for it in the next couple days. And you're attending, right?
yes, absolutely. Yep. I was at the they just had the Otakon, which is an anime convention, and I was putting up some pictures in the community for people who are cosplaying comic book characters, and he mentions like, I've been here all this time. I've never gone to that. I'm like, oh wow, you're in Baltimore. It's like, yeah. It's like, oh, we should get together sometime. It's like, well, I'm gonna be at the comic book convention, so I didn't even realize they had a comic book convention. So now I'm there, so I'll get to meet him as well.
Do you have you looked up any schedules or anything or any events, things that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, well, I was looking at it and they've got like different packages. Like they have like they've got like a couple like VIP type dinner things or whatever, where you can meet people. Like originally Stan Lee was supposed to be there, but now he's not. But they're pretty reasonable. I was telling my wife that that would be a fantastic anniversary gift if she could get me one of those, because like I think the most expensive one was like $250 or something like that, and it was like you get to go and like have like a social and um, meet some of the artists and writers. Let me see if I can look it up here real quick. But yeah, so that'll be my first comic book convention. I'm looking forward to it.
Cool. Well, make sure you say hi to Charles Dowd. And for any other members of the community that are going, we'll be putting up an event that you can use to post pictures, meet up, post news, and make sure you guys all find Mr. Dowd
There we
and
go.
say
Yep,
hi.
absolutely, and get pictures taken with him.
All right. Well, I think that's about it. So this
Question of the
is the
week
end.
or no?
Yeah, I guess we can do that. So, a member by the name of Joseph Sokolowski, Joseph, you can correct me on that later,
Yeah.
has been doing pretty much every day. He's been doing like a question of the day thing, and they've been pretty good questions. The one from the last week that I liked was he basically asked, do you like Barbara Gordon better as Oracle or Batgirl again in the New 52? Did you have any opinion on that?
Um, I'm preferential to Batgirl. On the other hand, though, Oracle was cool because I mean, there's not a lot of handicapped superheroes, especially in the DC universe. So then, like, it's potential loss of a role model, for people, with disabilities, for them to be able to look and go, hey, here's somebody like us. On the other hand, I grew up with her as Batgirl. I've always liked Batgirl. So I prefer her as Batgirl, but at the same time I'm kind of sad that she's not Oracle, or there's not somebody taking her place as Oracle.
I have to go with Oracle for the reasons why you like Oracle, just because it's so cool to have a disabled superhero that nobody really pitied her. She just kind of did everything on her own, and she was very effective in what she did. And they really empowered her, with the different writers that took her over, especially when Gail Simone was writing her. Um, and I also I didn't like the transition to the New 52 Batgirl. Oh, I got some surgery.
Well, now
Like,
on the other hand, though, on the other hand, I mean, Bruce had his back broken, and
true.
he's back. So I mean, so it was really starting to becoming like, wait a minute, how come
That
he can do, and she's still in a wheelchair? That doesn't make any sense.
yeah, true. Very
I
true.
I gotta say though, she made more sense as Oracle because the one thing that drives me nuts with Batgirl and actually most of the extended Bat family is like, Bruce had to train for like 7 years, 10 years to get to the level that he's at. Barbara did what? What? She took a self-defense class. She took a couple judo lessons, and now she's supposed to be like basically at his level. It's like negative, negative.
I
I
think
can't.
I think there's I think there's a couple comments where she like spent years in some sort of training. I don't follow the character all that much, so I'm not
Yeah.
real sure. The other thing though is the reason why I prefer Oracle is because there's pretty good replacements for her with
Hmm.
Stephanie Brown and Cassandra Cain that DC has decided to push under the rug
Yeah.
and
Well,
not
plus
mention.
two. I mean, now we've got Batwoman. Why do we need Batgirl? I
Right.
mean, it starts getting confusing. So I was
Well,
like, yeah.
great. Well, we'll probably feature more of his questions because they
Yep.
seem to generate a lot of discussion on the site. And if anybody watching, you should definitely check those out if you're not participating. Um, yeah, his name is Joseph Sokolowski, and I'll link to everything that we've talked about in the post when I post this on the page. Um, so yeah, that's about it. Our In order to find this in the future, our home on the web is going to be hashtag Communicast on Google Plus, and then I set up a Tumblr page for subscription purposes and stuff. So this will work just like a regular audio podcast too. That's going to be at cbcpodcast.tumblr.com, and hopefully I'll get it up on iTunes as well and get that working. If anybody has any suggestions, please let us know. This is very much a work in progress. And yeah, anything to add, Paul?
Nope, that's about it.
Great. Well, we will see everyone next week.
Awesome. See you guys later.